The mist slowly swirls over the hillside, swallowing the faint beams of moonlight. An abandoned factory looms above the landscape, as if time itself had forgotten it. The factory was built in the 19th century, renowned for producing unique gears whispered to possess magical powers. Some claimed these gears could control time or even shape human destiny. But a tragic accident changed everything. The souls of the workers who once labored here became trapped within its walls, and since then, the factory has become a realm of ghosts. On the night of the accident, the factory was filled with terror. Yet, amidst the silence, something else lingered. The heartbeat of the factory did not stop. The souls of the workers who once toiled there slowly dissolved into the mist, reappearing as eerie shadows. These shadows merged with the walls of the factory, the gears, and every piece of rusted metal. It was as if the factory itself had become their prison. But there is something few people know. This factory does not merely stand alone on the desolate hillside. The locals call the area the Witchwood, a mysterious and ominous forest where the trees twist into grotesque shapes, as if guarding dark secrets. Some legends claim that the factory was built here specifically to harness the magical energies of the forest, whispered about by villagers for centuries. Now, a detective has ventured into this cursed place, determined to uncover the truth behind the factory's haunting mysteries. Armed with only his wits and a flickering flashlight, he steps cautiously into the shadowy realm, knowing that the answers he seeks may come at a terrible cost. The detective cautiously pushes open the creaking, rusted door of the factory. The sound cuts sharply through the dense silence, as if the factory itself were protesting the presence of an intruder. Upon stepping into the factory yard, the air carried something else, the ominous presence of the past. Suddenly, figures began to emerge from the edges of the foggy courtyard. The first zombies appeared, their presence a grim reminder of the factory's dark past. Each step they took echoed the pain of long-lost lives, forever bound to this cursed place. When the detective enters the factory hall, a trembling beam of light zigzags between the rusty gears, dangling chains, and lifeless, crumbling machines. As the detective penetrated deeper and deeper into the dark interior of the factory, something changed. The silence was broken by a faint, mechanical noise, as if the machines were awakening from a long sleep. A gear slowly moved in the distance, then another followed. The rusty chains tightened, and their dull creaking filled the space. The machines, which had stood still for decades, now seemed to come to life at an invisible command. Shadows emerge from the dark corners. The ghosts slowly emerge, translucent shapes, the memories of long-dead workers. They silently follow the detective, watching his every move. They do not attack, but their presence weighs heavily on the air. However, the noise of the machines grows louder. The gears turn in sync, as if the factory itself is filled with life. With every step the detective takes, he feels more and more that the place is not only coming to life, but is also watching him. The shadows of the ghosts glide silently along the walls, and the machines hum louder and louder. The heart of the factory beats again, not letting the intruder forget about it. Shadows emerge from every corner of the factory, from the walls, from the floor, from the machines. The ghosts of the deceased workers slowly surround him. The souls trapped in the factory approach without warning, silently, but their presence is threatening. The detective freezes for a moment as the clicking of gears synchronizes with his heartbeat. This is no longer an abandoned building. This factory is alive, and the factory will not let anyone go. The detective walks slowly through the factory hall, which is suddenly enveloped in an unusual silence. The noise of the machines dies away. The ghosts who had been watching him earlier seem to have disappeared without a trace. However, the emptiness of the place does not bring relief. The silence is heavier than any noise. As the detective continues his journey, he spots an old, torn book in a dusty corner. His attention is immediately drawn to unfamiliar symbols carved deep into its leather cover. A dark story unfolds on the pages. The factory was no ordinary industrial facility. The book reveals that a warlock and the factory manager formed a secret alliance to create magical gears in the factory. These gears didn't just move machines, they opened a gateway to another world. The words reveal not only the factory's past, but also a danger that may still be lurking in this place. The final lines are particularly disturbing. Whoever opens the gateway will never return. The detective reads the last page of the book, and suddenly, the air freezes. A faint light flashes nearby, and then a ghostly figure begins to unfold in the darkness of the factory. The detective watches in shock as the ghost of the former worker steps out of the fog. His gaze reflects anger and pain. For a moment, it seems as if the ghost's words are heard in a soft whisper. "You shouldn't have come here." Movement is heard from different corners of the factory. The detective starts to back away when he sees the shadows slowly taking shape. The ghosts of the workers are no longer translucent figures. They turn into rotting bodies, zombies, slowly approaching. He seizes the opportunity for a moment and starts running. The zombies' movements are slow but persistent, following him every step of the way, and the noises of the machines seem to help them to guide their movements. The detective finally reaches the huge, magical gear deep within the factory. The metallic creak of the machine fills the space, as if the heart of the factory itself senses its impending doom. Next to the gear, he finds an ancient switch that he recognizes from the description he read in the book. As soon as the detective touches the switch, the gears begin to spin wildly, as if some invisible force has awakened. The factory begins to rumble. The walls tremble. The detective tries to back away, but a rusty chain breaks from the ceiling. He trips and falls to the ground, the rumble of the machinery almost drowning out the sounds of the outside world. The zombies slowly approach, surrounding the detective and towering over him menacingly. The detective desperately tries to break free, but the chains and the dark forces of the factory won't let him. A scream splits the darkness. The detective's scream dies away, but deep in the fog lurks the knowledge that the factory has claimed another victim and that the story is not over yet.